Okay, I think we're streaming. Today, it's going to be a quick talk. It's going to be an introduction to Masternodes related to cryptocurrency. This is in the Cryptosync Discord server. If you want to join, it's a paid server. I'm sorry, charge money for this. It is in someone mute. I'm going to mute you, Carnival Gear. Server mute. There you go. Hey guys, I guess I'll restart this one since you guys just joined. We're going to do Masternodes today. If you want to join the Cryptosync server, you can go to syncpodcast.com. Also, for those who follow Synchronicity, the podcast, I recorded one today with a guest. So that was a pretty cool one. It was on Vedic astrology. We touched on some cryptocurrency stuff, but the majority of it wasn't about that, although it was related to big cultural shifts and paradigm changing things. So that's cool if you're into that. So today, though, we're going to be talking about something a little bit different, masternodes, and we're going to cover briefly what a masternode is and why one would consider running said masternode. So what is a masternode? What is a node? What are these words that mean things that we don't know what they mean? I am not going to get overly technical in describing what they are. However, think of a node on a network as a computer, right? A server computer, opening a wallet and performing some type of beneficial service to the entire network. So if it was like a full node on Bitcoin, they help process transactions, keep the network moving, a whole variety of things that can be done to essentially keep the network going and serve a utilitarian function. Some masternodes also allow for governance and voting rights, and some of them even allow different, economic systems to emerge. They can also potentially increase the privacy of transactions by serving different functions. So that's the practical reasons they exist, and there are also there are tons of different types of masternodes. Some are met at thresholds. And a common misconception, for instance, let's talk about our friend VeChain, right? There's the strength nodes and the X nodes. Those are masternodes in a sense that you have a threshold and you get certain rights and certain, things like whitelisting to ICOs on the VeChain platform, but they're not actually performing any explicit function for the network, if you know what I mean. Like, yes, by having them locked up in a circulating supply that impacts the economics in the ecosystem, but for the most part, they're not actually like processing transactions as far as we know, right? We'll see, but I don't think they're going to be doing that. That's called proof of access. Whoever just joined, you need to mute yourself, so I'm going to server mute you. But that is the function of a proof of access system, which is just by holding them somewhere, you're getting things, as opposed to a masternode where you're actually performing some utilitarian function for the network and the blockchain. Also, if you've ever downloaded a wallet onto your computer, sometimes you download the entire blockchain, right? That's what that huge, however many gigabyte file you're downloading onto your computer is the entire blockchain. So you're also going to need a server or a computer with space. So now let's get into the technicals of a space to store that blockchain. I should finish the sentence. So you're also, now let's say you're interested. All right, masternodes. Great. They do this different stuff. Why do I care? How does this help me? Well, one of the things masternodes can help do is potentially in proof of stake coins, generate more of that coin for you. So you can actually create more, get a higher percentage of your return, and actually start staking some of these coins, and you get added benefits. Some of them even allow you to get benefits from all of the transactions that are happening on the network. So how would you run a masternode? Let's say theoretically, yeah, hook, line, sinker, I'm sold. I've heard enough, which you probably haven't, but let's say you're interested. How would you do it? Well, you could just run it on your computer, but your computer there's several downsides to this. One, it would need to be open and on all the time. Two, it's somewhat of a security risk to use your personal machine to be running these things. And C, I just don't think it's a very practical use of your computer. So what else are your other options? So you could run a computer that is just completely separate from everything and, is constantly on. There's obviously an electric cost factored into that, maybe negligible depending on where you live. Nonetheless, it's something that has to be done. However, you can use something called a VPS, a virtual private server, where you essentially set up a computer somewhere else where hopefully there's cheaper electricity than where it is where you are, and you can set up a computer with all the specifications of you would need. Now, there's a variety of different masternodes you can run, and it's always good to do your own research. And I'll have a list. I have some people in this server doing research on some of them. I'll have a list of masternodes that I feel have been vetted or at least worth a shot. For people who are doing some of the proof of stake stuff, like we were doing with Diverse, I did DV7. For those who got their principal out in time, very interesting and fun experiment. For those who got caught in the middle as it dropped to 1 Satoshi, you learned a valuable lesson. Hopefully, if you were coming from here, you didn't put too much money in. Now you're just staking something that's at 1 Satoshi. I'm just staking the shit out of that stuff. But anyway, that's not really a masternode. You're not getting an extra benefit. However, you could think of that proof of stake model, if you're using Stake United, a pool, as generating some type of benefit akin to a masternode. Stake United, I also believe, does offer masternodes that you can pool into. Okay, but back to the regular masternode discussion. You set up a virtual private server. We'll have links to a few of those. Got to figure out which one's the best. And you start staking, or you start fulfilling your masternodes. You start generating and mining, potentially, some of these coins, akin to mining. So why would you want to do this? Well, there's a lot of different ways to generate Bitcoin, if that's what you're eventually trading to in the market. One is you could just trade, as we're talking about in the server quite often. You could trade things for less and buy them low, sell them high, get more of that. That's a clear way to do it. But you can also generate more of coins that A, either have value now, or B, may go up in value later. So if you can identify projects that seem to be legit, not in terms of just their application, but the development team looks good. You could see it evolving in the correct ways, community driven in the right ways, governance looks good, ethos of the company looks good, project looks good, I should say. Then you can maybe say, all right, I want to become a masternode. I want to help maintain this network. So that there's a lot of different levels to this if you want to get into the more kind of esoteric aspects. But from an economic standpoint, if you identify a project that has good fundamentals and that you think is going to be around for a little bit, setting up a masternode virtually and helping maintain the network while getting some benefits for doing that could certainly be something that you're interested in. It's also, I've done a lot of client calls, a lot of portfolio setups at this point, a lot of consulting. Not everyone, but a large portion of people are looking for passive income. Right? And that doesn't mean that they're looking for millions of dollars every month or years. Some people are, but they're looking for a regular amount of money that could replace a potential paycheck that they're now, have to work for in a job that maybe they don't really like that much. Or maybe they would just like to scale back and see maybe if they wanted to do something else, or maybe they would want to stay at their job. That's what people are looking for. I think if you identify proof of work coins and masternodes that could be worthwhile for you, and this is also, I'd like to point out, kind of like an in-between for running a mining rig, right? So pulling electricity right from the grid to get, Bitcoin or something that you're mining, as opposed to serving some function on the network that may be simultaneously mining, but also upholding the network. Now, it still costs electricity. I don't want to be too dreamy-eyed and idealistic about all masternodes. Some of them are also just outright scams, but it's a different way of doing it. So it's something that I think is worth looking into. With that said, I'm sure I forgot about a lot of stuff about masternodes, but that's the general overview of what they are, how they work. I think what we'll do in the future is do proof of work discussion and a proof of stake discussion. But if anyone has any questions, let me know here and then in the voice chat text channel, and we will go from there. I see Carnival Nar typing. Any idea of what kind of computer it will require? Yeah, I'm a Mac guy too. don't use your Mac for this. I mean, you can open a wallet. I highly recommend using a VPS. Use a virtual private server. Don't use your computer for this. You could buy a cheap PC and probably do it, but I just don't see any real reason to do that unless you're like, you've identified the thing, you're sure you want to become a Masternode or you want to set up several of them, start staking all these things. I think you're better off on a VPS. And yeah, there's going to be some technical level, that you're going to need to understand here, or at least know someone who can understand how to do it. I will say this, by the middle of April, I should have at least a couple of Masternodes set up. And I will report back with how they're going and whether they're worth it and how hard it was and what specific steps one would need to take. So hopefully it shouldn't be that complicated. I don't think it is. Any other questions? Okie dokie.